Good early morning, everyone. I'm sorry this video is so late. I messed up. I didn't hit record, so it missed the beginning of this video. This bowl is what I use to mix by hand. It's large, it's heavy, it's glass, I love it. Anyways, to this bowl I added 120 grams of active starter. I added 340 grams of room temperature purified drinking water. I mixed it together with my Danish dough whisk until the starter was dissolved in the water. Then I put it back on the scale, zeroed it out, and added 500 grams of bread flour. I mixed that and kept mixing it with the dough whisk until I couldn't mix it anymore, and used my bowl scraper to finish mixing. Sorry, I'm so discombobulated today. After I mixed, I made sure that there were no dry pockets of flour in the dough. Wow, I can't even talk today. I can't think straight. I can't talk. I don't know what my deal is. I'm tired. That's what my deal is. Anyway, you can see me here working through the dough with my bowl scraper, and it's a tedious process, but you should really get in the habit of using it and keeping your bowl as clean as possible. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that you should have a spotless bowl. No. But you should have it as clean as possible. And all that's doing is giving you a visual cue for your dough so you can see what your dough is doing below the surface. So anyways, I'm getting this all mixed together, and then I'm going to put a cover over it, and it's going to sit for an hour. Now you notice I didn't put any salt in it, and that's because I'm going to let it ferment a least. And what that is you're just adding the water, starter, and flour to your bowl, mixing it together, making sure there are no dry pockets of flour, covering it and letting it sit to start the fermentation process and giving it a jump start, developing the glutens. So once I have it all mixed, I'm going to cover it and let it sit there. Now you see me pouring water into that bowl? That is going to help you keep the dough from sticking to your hands and to your utensils. There are some sourdough bakers out there who have very high hydration levels and their dough is incredibly sticky, but through working with it and kneading it and doing stretch and folds and slap and folds and coil folds, it becomes manageable. And that's what the end goal for this dough is, to make it manageable, to get it into a shape, and get it to bulk ferment. So I will be back here in 1 hour to get the salt going. As you can see, I'm using the water to my advantage to keep the dough from sticking to me, because After you work with it, if you don't continue to work with it, it's just gonna be sticky. But like I said, if you continue to work with it, if you do slap and folds, or if you knead it in any way, shape, or form, it is going to become more manageable. So you're going to see me put a lid on it, or a shower cap on it, and cover it. And I will be back here in 30 minutes, in 1 hour, to start doing our stretch and folds. Stay tuned. And welcome back. At this point in time, we're going to mix in our salt. You've had the starter beginning the fermentation process without the salt in it, because salt inhibits the yeast, and it would take longer for your dough to rise and to ferment if you just put it all in at once. I mean, if you're mixing it in a stand mixer, you can put it all in your stand mixer at once and mix it. And you mix it for 10 minutes, and that's the kneading process. But if you're mixing it by hand, you will have to do a different process. So you put your bowl on the scale, you zero it out, you add 10 grams of salt, and then you sprinkle the top with a little water. You make your hand like a claw, and you're just going to claw in the salt and mix it into the dough. And you're going to continue to mix that until you don't feel the grains anymore. And that's why I'm wearing a glove. I can't stand to feel the grains of salt on under my nails or between my fingers. I'm just weird like that. Sorry. But anyways, you want to work your dough so as to get the salt mixed in, but to help the dough develop its gluten. So you've worked it a little bit, you get it into a ball, you're going to cover it and let it rest for 30 minutes. And then we will come back in another video. This is part 1. Part 2 will be coming up next, and that will contain instruction on how to do stretch and folds. All right, so come back in 30 minutes.